Dynamite. An interesting show. Some parts feel important, and other parts just feel like they just did not matter because either they were very sloppy or just didn't feel important. Maybe because it's just starting, or the person just doesn't matter because they've been booked so badly. Okay, opening match. Moxley versus Davis. Let me give it to you like this with Mark Davis. That boy, I hope he's okay. Because if you watch the match, and it was a good match, one, don't like eliminator matches. I'm just being honest here. But if you look past it, it was a good match, at least until Mark Davis tried to hit Moxley in the face with a full force punch near one of the oh my gosh. He literally hit one of the turn posts outside the ring, full force with his knuckle, and he bust that sucker open. And Moxley, to his credit and detriment, I said detriment, decided because this did happen, he was going to target that damaged hand. Now, we don't know if he broke his hand. I'm hoping he did not break his hand because you heard, like you heard my hand hit it, you heard him hit that turn post that hard. It was not a light hit. He tried to legitimately make it look good and hit it really hard. So hopefully he didn't break his hand. Doyle is out because he looks like he might he looked like he might have hurt his shoulder or his bicep. I don't know which one. He's not there. And now if Davis is hurt seriously in his hand, that's gonna suck. In the end, I didn't expect anything other than Moxley to win, but to tap him out, I'm gonna say this: the Death Riders make no sense still. They are irrelevant. And they're still messing with the Don Callis. Guys, if you looked at that segment later in the night, when you see Moxley with everybody else, and then you see Pac talking like the Don Callis family, you're going to learn a lesson. Why do I care about the Don Callis family dealing with the Death Riders when they don't make any sense? They don't. The Death Riders don't feel important. They feel like a joke. What is the point of the Death Riders now? Moxley, what is he? Is he a face? Doesn't feel like it. He still feels like the same old Moxley. It feels like this shouldn't be happening. The Death Rider should be disbanded, or the Death Rider needs a new leader. And it feels irrelevant. Moving on. The TBS 4-way match. A match that was sloppy. And the beginning and the middle was sloppy. Megan Bayne. Willow Nightingale. Mia Shirakawa. And out of all the women there, the one who looked the worst was Marina Shafir. I'm sorry. Look, I don't hate Marina Shafir. I don't. I just felt like she was never booked correctly. She was working with the Death Riders and they only had her as just basically holding the damn briefcase. And when you look at how she works, she can't do long-term matches all the time. She can't. She gets tanked too easily. And she was in the ring with 3 other women. And when you watched her, she got tanked after nearly 10 minutes. Barely 10 minutes. Bayne still looked good. Mia Shirakawa looked pretty good. And Willow looked good, but she looked tanked. But here's the thing. We just had Willow Nightingale do 3 matches back to back to back. She did a tag match. I think she did another tag match. And then now she's done the TBS Championship in 5 days. No. She did a tag match. And I think she did another TBS Championship match. Eliminator match. And then this match. And honestly, more power to her. She looked great. But does she feel important? I don't know. I don't think so. What does the TBS Championship mean around a Willow Nightingale's waist? Now, mind you, she's very popular, and I like her myself. But what stories we have with Willow? We don't. The only one that can make sense that will do a story would be a returning Mercedes Moné, but she's not back yet. That's just how it feels. She just feels like she's in a holding pattern. so she doesn't feel important, but she's very popular. Moving on. Next match, Orange Cassidy and I just botched Ima Ishii's name, and I never usually botch his name because I actually like the Pitbull. The Stone Pitbull, even though he's an older wrestler, he's not really that important, I still like him. He just has something I like. Don't know what it is, I just like him. But he hasn't been back in months, and he doesn't feel important in a conglomeration. He just doesn't. I just don't know what to feel about this. And going up against Gabe Kidd and Connors, and what is the guy's name? Clark Connors, don't care. I would have been more happy to see Clark Connors by himself if he's that important. But they stick him with Gabe Kidd, who never felt important because he never was fully a member of the Death Riders. In the end, they lost. And what happened with Gabe Kidd? He gets attacked by Orange Cassidy. I'm going to say this. I'd rather see the story between Gabe Kidd and not Orange Cassidy. I mean, the story between Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd. It just feels like there needs to be more. That's why I got Orange Cassidy mixed up with him. Because I think it would be more better with Orange Cassidy than it would be with Darby Allin. What is Darby doing? It doesn't feel important. That's why I got him mixed up with Orange Cassidy. You guys tell me what you think. The Brawling Birds versus a Jobber team, which had a lot of... You're trying to get the Brawling Birds over. And this match looked botchy because these two women never dealt with these women from Sacramento. They didn't feel important. And they just had a really competitive match. And the Brawling Birds looked weak. They didn't feel important because they didn't feel dominant. You're trying to bring them in, make them look dominant to a team that's a jobber team. And they were so competitive, they made them look weaker. And I'm like, do I care about the Brawling Birds and Windsor and Hayter? After seeing that match, no. I don't know about anyone else. JD may have liked the match perfectly fine. Everyone else may have liked it, but it didn't look right to me. They should have been more dominant. They shouldn't have struggled so much with a jobber team from Sacramento, California. I'm sorry, it just feels like they shouldn't have struggled. But you guys tell me below. Kevin Knight versus the Beast Mortos. When was the last time we saw Beast Mortos? On Dynamite. Quite a while ago. I still like the Beast Mortos when he was Black Taurus. And right now, as Beast Mortos, he feels like they should do something more with him, and they never do. So I didn't expect him to win here, even though he's going to make a competitive match. And he did. He looked good. So did Kevin Knight. But did I care? No. So what gets me is after that, we get the Demand talking. And supposedly Jack Perry is now out of the picture, which he's not because we saw the knife in the door for the Demand. That now they want to get the trios titles away from Jet's Set Radio, or Rodeo actually. Jet Speed Rodeo, I think Jet Speed Rodeo. Look. Do I care about the Demand? No. Do I believe they're going to do more of a feud between a Ricochet and Jack Perry? Yes. Will that be interesting? I don't know. Because the national championship has not been important. Even around Ricochet's waist hasn't really felt important because look how many... Breathe. The World Championship. The TNT Championship. The Continental Championship, the International Championship, then the National Championship. 5 titles where one is supposed to be the most important, then the second one. If there has to be a third one, that would be for the lowest tier. But you got 5 of them. So the National Championship is the rock bottom one, and it doesn't feel important because it's got 4 other titles. They never try to say, look, whoever wins the National Championship can go up against the International Championship. They would have to drop it, kind of like option C, or the Continental Championship. No. The international championship is completely safe on Okada's waist. And they don't even set any stamp for the national championship to go up against the TNT champion. That might be something interesting. No. Nothing. So the titles don't feel like they're important, and they don't give the opportunity of someone to try and elevate themselves up the card. So it doesn't feel important. Even if Ricochet is important, the title doesn't feel important, so that makes him not important. All right, last match. Swerve Strickland versus Kenny Omega. Looks like Swerve's gone back to being Swerve. It feels like they just did a reset on Swerve. And you know what? If they're going where we obviously think they may go, it's understandable. I kind of wish they didn't, but it's understandable why they did it, because that match was a good match. Seeing that Audrey was willing to take a bump at a V-trigger was fine. Seeing that when it was over, Kenny lost, he lost. Swerve decided to destroy him to make it clear that he needs the championship himself. He needs it. He needs the championship. So he pretty much destroyed Kenny on the table. It makes sense for Swerve to go that far. And even Prince Nana's kind of confused, like, what are you doing? This isn't you. But it is. Now, before we get any further, I have to at least state this. Kerwin Sullis. I believe I'm mispronouncing his last name, Sullis. But Kerwin Sullis, who has been in wrestling for maybe 35 years plus, has just passed away at the age of 75. He worked for WWE for many years, and I'm sure he might have worked in WCW at one point, because when you hear Tony Schiavone, he said he met him in 89, and Tony has never gone to WWE, so he had to be working outside WWE. I do believe it was WCW. Then he went to WWE, and that's where he's been staying until he passed away. It's not good to see another legend. And I'm going in legend for production, because even Bryan Danielson, who was on commentary, said, when I first went to WWE, I did not know anything about production. He taught it to me. And I was grateful for that. So they were willing to go there. He was willing to say it and make it clear. So that was good. That they weren't trying to be tribal about it and never talk about WWE, which they do. But it's sad to see someone pass away. It just sucks. But I wanted to say that. Now, let me get through a couple of these things. Hook. He's now the leader of the Ops. Do you care? No. But they're going to have to try and make me care. Since Shibata's in Japan right now, he said he's recruiting there. Now Hook is going to recruit. Since, remember, Powerhouse Hobbs is gone. He's not there anymore. He's in WWE. So, sorry, I was about to sneeze. It's my allergies. Ugh. Thank goodness I could sneeze. But there's no Powerhouse Hobbs. There's no Samoa Joe. He's injured. Shibata's not there at the moment. So now Hook is supposed to recruit people for the Ops because now he's the boss. Do I believe it's going to work? I don't know. They got to convince me. Next. Let me give it to you like this. I got to say this. Brody King. And the chants of F Ice. I want to make this clear. As I said the last time, I'm not saying I'm for or against Ice. This is not about that. This is about what will work for a pro wrestling company. As I said before, when Desert Storm happened, if anyone was alive at that time in the 90s, when Desert Storm happened, they incorporated they incorporated the war into a storyline. Here, there's no storyline. And when you heard the chants, they tried to subdue the chants. At this point, guys, they either need to do one or two things. Either make a storyline where Ice is involved in pro wrestling, or they're going to have to make sure that every time Brody King comes on, they do not let any sound from any of the fans come out, or Number two, recorded sounds from the fans will be piped in like canned pops. That's what they got. They got three options. One, make a real storyline out of this when it comes to Ice. And have a wrestler who is the bad guy, who is a representative Ice. Two, they stop all of the chanting by not letting anybody be heard in the arena when Brody King comes on and does a promo. They completely subdue it. Or three, they let him have cheers, but they're going to be canned pops. Because I'm telling you this again, make it very clear. When fans see a particular person, they're going to say whatever that fan, the fans, when they see a particular person, they're going to chant whatever that person was presenting. And right now, Tony let Brody King have an Ice shirt. Screw Ice. And until you either make a storyline or you're going to cut out the audio or you're going to replace it with something else, you have to do something. Because you cannot make this all about chanting of a situation that is not involving the company. Because it'll look bad on the company. And it's not if Tony agrees that fuck Ice or agrees that Ice shouldn't be hated. It's not that. He has to come up with either I'm going to make this a storyline which will bring us more people in. It'll bring in something that's going on in the outside of wrestling and help the company, or I got to subdue it because it's going to hurt the company. He's got to make that decision soon because it's going to get worse. Sooner or later, the chances are going to be so apparent even when he's not doing it, like subduing it or putting canned pops. People are going to know he's got to do something and do it soon because it's going to blow up in his face. He thinks he's going to make it great because I'm listening to the fans. They're going to screw the company without realizing it. I'm just saying. Next, let's wait for MJF. Let me give it to you like this. FTR, that segment they had in the ring, saying about the Bucks, and it's basically repeated what happened before, talking about the Bucks, saying the Bucks used to be the bee's knees, as they used to be the bee's knees, the best shit on the block, and they're not anymore. They're number two, and pretty much Stokely, Big Stroke, started having an attitude even about Matt and Nick's kids roaming around like they own the place. What happened? They come out right behind them, they kick them in the face, and then they kick half away in the face, and saying, we want those titles by Revolution. We knew this was coming. We knew they were going to bring this up. And here's the thing. It doesn't feel as important as it should. You know why? FTR should have gone up against Edge, Adam Copeland, and Christian. There's no Adam Copeland, the Cope, and there's no Christian. There's neither one of them. And that storyline has just been dropped because they haven't come back yet. Either both of them are hurt or both of them are doing some projects outside of pro wrestling. They're not there. And they just did this film situation because this is what it is. The Bucks, yes, they should be built up properly and they should be becoming champions. But at this point, if they're going to go up against anybody, it should be Adam and Christian after they deal with FTR. But there's nothing there. And that's why it feels empty. And it shouldn't, but it does. Last but not least, we are the same. Now, I could say they are the same because of what happened with Swerve Strickland and what he said at the end. But I want to say this. This segment, I felt, was very good. One of the better ones I've seen from Hangman Page. And one of the ones I think that MJF has done pretty damn well. Making it very clear. MJF hates Page's guts. He hates it. But he made it very clear that he is not going to back off. He's going to keep his title and make it clear that cowboy shit doesn't mean anything. Nothing. He's garbage. But when you hear Page talk and say that he hates him, but not because of the same thing. He hates him because he's a reflection of himself. Not a reverse reflection, an exact reflection. it kind of makes sense the way they both acted over the last 6 years. Hangman Page has always wanted people to love him, same as MJF. Hangman Page has always wanted to be the best, to prove that he is. So is MJF. Both of them love the company, even though MJF has always acted like he can do whatever he wants. He made it very clear, hey, I know you're the same as me. Only thing that's different is that you got that hair restoration and I didn't. Because he did mess with him about his new hair longer than before and getting the plugs, the surgery, you get the plugs in there. Ugh, that's terrifying. But he made it very, very, very clear. We are exactly the same. But I'm not a coward. You are. And I want this match of Revolution to be a stipulation. He said, no. No way, I'm not giving it to you. And he said, I will give you something. And he said, and I quote, you give me this match. If I lose, I promise you and everyone here that if I lose, for as long as I live, I will never challenge for that title again. Not challenge for the title as long as you hold it, I will never challenge you. No, he said he'll never challenge again. Now that's going to be a sticking point for some people because they're going to say, was he vague in what he's doing because they want to make it suspenseful? Or are they really going to go there that if Hangman Page loses, even if MJF loses the title to somebody else, he will still never go for the title? My thinking is he did not make it very clear. He made it vague on purpose. So to feel like it was that important because it's still about MJF holding the title. When MJF loses it, he'll probably go for it. But if they do go there and Hangman Page never goes for the championship again, this will be a bit interesting. But it doesn't mean it's right. It would have been better if he just said, as long as you were champ. But he wants to test it. MJF made it very clear that I will take a week to think about it. And the stip, Texas death. That's what he wants. Then you see him backing away like he's scared, MJF. Let's make this very clear. This will be a very interesting match. And seeing after what Swerve did, where he is no different than MJF or a Hangman Page. You got three people who are exactly the same. I could say they are the same. Maybe I will use that title. They are the same. No, we are the same. But let me give it to like this. When this comes down at Revolution, the big question is going to be, how far are they willing to go to make this important for Page, for Swerve, and for MJF? Because we still got time. Because if they keep throwing matches and not give us more to really build into it, like Swerve has to talk to Page. I truly believe they need to talk. Not because they're best friends, but I truly believe Swerve and Page need to say something. It doesn't matter about MJF. It's Swerve and Page. Because if they're going down the road, I think they are, that MJF will lose and Swerve and Page will have their moment again for the title. The question's going to be, what position is Swerve going to be in? What position is Page going to be in? Is Swerve going to be heelish all the way into that feud? Or is he going to turn back from acting the way he is because he spoke to Page? And he made it very clear, I want to challenge you because I know you earned it. But if you start acting like this all over again, do you want to go down that road we did before? I'm hoping that's going to be in the conversation if they go there. Because if Swerve faces Page and Page tells Swerve, look, we'll never be friends. And you know we're not friends. But I respect you. You earned it as I've earned yours. You don't need to go down that route, what you did with Kenny. You don't. You don't. I win. I want you. Because this time around, not only have you earned the right to challenge for this title, if I win it, but I'm now right to do it. This is the way it should be. You don't need to be that. be who you were when we finally came terms to each other. We're not friends. No. No. We'll never be friends. But come on, we respect. I think that might be where they go. And if they do it, not everyone's going to like it because they're going to want to see Swerve as a heel and Hangman as a face, or vice versa. But I think that might be where they're going. But it's just me. You guys, tell me below. Peace.